Welcome to Kykar Wins Fury. As far as our opening hand goes, yes, we will keep on this. I don't know what song that was, but we saw Monastery Mentor, we saw Mana Crypt, and we saw Lightning Greaves, and we will definitely keep on this. We do need to find a red source for Wheel of Fortune, but I like what we got going on. This is a good start, and we're playing against Grand Arbiter Fart Monster himself, and so it's nice to have some sort of board wipe insurance too, so I think that works out. So let's go. Yeah, let's get this party started. Let's go Waste, let's go Mana Crypt, and let's go for Monastery Mentor. I kind of like this. If we're going to try to win against Grand Arbiter Fart Monster himself, we need to be able to develop a board state quicker than they can lock us down. So let's go for Monastery Mentor, and then anything else will pass the turn. So at the very least, next turn, we've got Lightning Greaves. It's going to be an extra monk token. We're going to be able to protect Monastery Mentor. Yes, and they enter the battlefield with a tap land. Sign me up. That sounds wonderful. So we'll cover our commanders in just a second. Let's get this turn 2 started. And I was going to choose Tails on this Mana Crypt trigger. You always choose Tails on a Mana Crypt trigger just because, hey, half the time you're right. All right, we're 0 for 1 on those Mana Crypt triggers. And let's go for Tranquil Cove. Yeah, because it's our only land drop to make. All right, so we're going to gain a life and negate some of that Mana Crypt damage. Just go for Lightning Greaves. It's going to be 1-2. And at this point, we're just kind of waiting for a red source to give us a holler on the cell phone. Then we'll be able to kind of really set this one out with Wheel of Fortune. So let's get ourselves a nice monk token on the battlefield. It's going to be Prowess. It's going to be Lightning Greaves. At this point, we're going to go and shift the Lightning Greaves onto Monk Token. That way we can get in for a little bit of extra damage. You never know. That one point of damage might make a difference. We're going to swing in with the entire crew. That's going to put them down to 26. And just make sure that we get these Lightning Greaves shifted back over onto Monastery Mentor, because we definitely want to protect Monastery Mentor. So anything else, let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Kykar Wins Fury. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Then for an activated ability, sacrifice a spirit, add red mana to your mana pool. Playing against Grand Arbiter Fart Monster himself. White spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Blue spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Then spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast. And that's going to be Swiftfoot Boots. So going to choose Tails on this Mana Crypt trigger. One to flip. We are 1 for 2 on those triggers. And I guess at this point, we could go for Talrand and try to just kind of diversify, but I think I just kind of like jamming a Anointed Procession. I think that sounds pretty good. All right, so let's get Anointed Procession down. That's going to be 1-2. That's going to give us an extra Monastery trigger and also give us some really nice prowess too. There we go. And they are tapped out again, so we will shift the Lightning Greaves over onto the other monk that just entered the battlefield, just to try to get as much value as possible. So let's go and shift Lightning Greaves over onto that monk. Let's go and swing in. That's going to be 5, 6 total coming across, knocking them down to 20. Look at Monastery Mentor putting in some work. All right, it's going to knock them down to 20, and then anything else, let's get the Greaves back on a Monastery Mentor, and we will pass the turn. So we did cover both commanders. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG. If you go to TCG Player, actually, if you go to bit.ly/Jolt MTG, that will apply my affiliate link at TCG Player. That'll allow you to get some cards and help support the channel at the same time. And if you enjoy my content, this is the best way to support my content, and it costs you nothing. All you have to do is click on the link, go to that link, or actually click on the deck link down in the description below, and it'll apply that. So next time you buy some cards, hey, much obliged if you consider using that one. Also, let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. If you want to play online, MTGOTraders, I've used them for years. They are great. And last but not least, Ink Gaming. If you want to check out some of my cool playmats, inkgaming.com/Jolt will apply it. So let's go for Tails. 1 the flip. We're 2 for 3 on those. And we run into Ponder. Yeah, I kind of like this, because if we end up going for Ponder, either way, it's going to be 2 extra. We could try to go for, yeah, because with Grand Arbiter Fart Monster, it just doesn't matter at all. I mean, if it's creature or non-creature, so it just cares about the spells. Let's go ahead and tap down Mana Crypt, simply just to have access to that extra mana. But at this point right now, I think this is really going to help us out. We're going to end up with double tokens on the battlefield, which is a very nice feeling. There we go. And then if we can just hit like another cantrip, I mean, that would be pretty nice with Ponder. Faithless Looting. Yeah, I think we finally end up going for, I like this all on top. We're going to put that on top, and actually, no, let's do it like this. So we go for, let's put Ancient Tomb on top. Let's put Marsh Flats on top, and let's put Faithless Looting on top. Not going to shuffle our line, but we're going to draw into Faithless Looting. Oh, dang it, no, I overthought that one. I was thinking that we could put it on top and then And then we'd be able to make the land drop. And then I was like, no, you're going to crack it and forget about Faithless Looting on top. So that was a little bit of a sequencing error on my part. Let's go ahead and push in. We're going to push in with the old Monastery Mentor over there. And then next turn, we'll make the land drop. Yeah, that was definitely a sequencing error on my part. Let's go ahead and swing in with Monastery Mentor. That is a 3/3. Let's see if they want to do anything about that. And then knock them down to 5 or 15. And then anything else past the turn. Last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to directly support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you are keeping score at home, it is officially free time. Now, our opponent's going to be going for a Mystical Tutor. I'm not really I mean, maybe if they've got the lane drop to follow up with white and they're going for a board wipe. Declaration in Stone. Exile target creature. Oh, man, yeah, that's fine. We're going to get a ton of clue tokens off of that. And the good thing is that Grand Arbiter Fart Monster can't get his little nasty hands with our activations on Declaration in Stone. Or not Declaration in Stone, but those clue tokens. Oh, wait, what am I talking about? There's some spell that would give you clue tokens. Okay, that's not it. Oh, they investigate for each non-token. Ah, there we go. Okay, so I knew what I was talking about. Okay, it's going to be Grand Arbiter, Fart Monster, but those, it doesn't apply to token creatures. So there we go. Get a little ahead of myself. Also, this is a Good Morning Vietnam video, so there's a couple different... our punter just said something goofy in the chat. Yeah, best of luck to you too, buddy. And they were nice. It's just, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Hey there, good luck. Same to you. And somebody said it was some sort of quote one time, so I know I played against this person before, so hey, whatever works for them. Let's go for Marsh Flats. Let's go and crack Marsh Flats to grab ourselves a red source finally. That'll be good. And we've got double blue. I think what we'll end up grabbing is just a plateau. Yeah, that'll work out. So we've got Faithless Looting. That's going to be 2. Or do we want a Wheel of Fortune? Because we Wheel of Fortune, that's going to be 4 total mana. And we know what we're going to draw. And yeah, but that's going to give them a fresh script. Yeah, let's just try to keep this on our side. We're going to be in a pretty good spot with this. Let's go for Faithless Looting. We know one of those on top is Ancient Tomb. And so we'll be able to make that the land drop next turn. This is going to be an extra monk token. And let's see what it is on the back end. Ooh, Dynacharge. No, excuse me. We shuffled it up with their fetch land. So Dynacharge does work out for next turn. That's going to be some really nice tokens. So let's discard 2 cards. I guess at this point, because we do want Wheel of Fortune, we can, like Dynacharge in response to Wheel of Fortune next turn if we find another red source somehow. Let's do this. Let's get rid of Unbreakable Formation, and let's get rid of Dynacharge. Actually, we'll get rid of Talrand. Yeah, there we go. I like that a lot better. All right, so anything else? Let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So let's go and push in for 3 with Monastery Mentor. We were able to rebound after that Declaration in Stone, especially with the Anointed Procession out there. It's a pretty good feeling. Let's go and swing it with Monastery Mentor, and then anything else, kick it back over there. Now, as far as getting Kykar down, we're in a position now to where we're actually, chipping away at our opponent's life total. So we're probably not going to end up spending an entire turn going for Kykar because we just want to kind of keep this. That's one of the good things about Monastery Mentor. It's such a good card is that you just want to keep the pressure up. We're keeping the pressure up with Monastery Mentor. We are a little bit strapped on red mana, but at this point, we're looking at Wheel of Fortune. Depending on how they tap down, we might end up going for Wheel of Fortune because that might give us an opportunity to cycle. Yes. All right, so we do force the value Cyclonic Rift on Anointed Procession. Another good thing about Anointed Procession is that we're going to be able to return target artifact card. Okay. Another good thing about Anointed Procession is that we can recast it, and that'll be that non-creature spell for Monastery Mentor. So, and if we can sequence up another spell, that's going to make it to where our monks can swing in basically unchecked. So that'll be pretty good. So let's go and choose Tails on this Mana Crypt trigger. One, the flip, I think we're 2 for 4 or something like that. Let's make the land drop for the turn. That's going to be Glacial Fortress. Yeah, I kind of like this because that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this, oh no, excuse me, we're not going to have just enough to go for that. So I feel like Cyclonic Rift was a little bit of a, kind of like a desperate play a little bit. Maybe they don't have much to follow up. So I think just rebounding completely again with Anointed Procession, getting these prowess triggers, I think that it does work out. So now we do have a 2/1 over there. One of the monk tokens is going to get eaten up by Grand Arbiter Fart Monster. And so what we'll probably end up doing is just still swinging in with the entire crew. I kind of like that. So that's going to be an extra token. Let's go ahead and push. Well, that'll be a one. Either way, it'll end up trading. So let's go ahead and put that over onto Monk token, and then we'll switch it back next turn. So let's go ahead and push in. We're going to send the entire crew in. Either way, we're going to trade with the Restoration Specialist, and they're going to be able to eat one of our tokens. All right, so they're going to actually block with Grand Arbiter. Oh, double block. Okay, I'll take that. And we're still sitting good on because if they spend the entire turn going for Grand Arbiter, then we're in a pretty good spot. So that puts them down to 3. Anything else, pass it back over there. Because if we end up going Wheel of Fortune next turn, somehow get down Young Pyromancer, we've got Dynacharge next turn, which is going to be a prowess option that we can go for that they're probably not going to see. So even if they do decide to get another creature out there or something like that, with us having 3/1/1s and then potentially only looking at having 2 creatures to block. There we go. Opponent's going to scoop it up on that one. We will take that. One of the fun things about playing Kykar, like I mentioned, is you just roll out a quick value piece. Now, it did help that we got Mana Crypt out pretty early. We're able to kind of dodge the tax effect from Grand Barter or Fart Monster. But just simply being able to get down something like Monastery Mentor, Young Pyromancer, just doing what you normally want to do in a game of Commander, except that you get these tokens that tag along. Hey, that's some good magic right there. But if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye. Welcome to Kykar Wins Fury. As far as our opening hand goes, yes, we will keep on this one. I love it. We got some good options. We got Whirlwind of Thought, which is a new addition to the deck. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, draw a card. So fits perfectly in this deck, and hopefully we can get that down. I'm really excited to see what this is going to go. And playing against Lavinia, which has been a minute since we've played against her. And let's see if our opponent wants to keep on 7, and then we'll get this game started. So there we go. All right, so they do end up keeping with 7 and lead off with a snow-covered island. So let's see what we draw into. Either way, we've got 2 fetch lands, so we're going to be able to hit that Jeskai mana pretty quick, especially with Talisman of Progress out there. So let's see what we draw into for the turn. Temple of Enlightenment, we will actually end up going for that. Then we get the Scry going, the Scurry, the Fever, the Insanity, the Descent into Madness. Yeah, this is kind of a good morning Vietnam video. Mausoleum Wanderer. Yeah, I think at this point... Yeah, I think well, I mean, I think that actually would be... Yeah, let's do that. Let's put that on top of our life. If this is going to be kind of a grindy, Azorius control style match, yeah, I think I kind of like having that on top of our library. So there we go. We're playing Kykar, Wind's Fury. Flying, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Then for an activated ability, sacrifice a... I told you it's going to be a grindy match, so there we go. We got counterbalance. Sacrifice the spirit, add red mana to your mana pool. So at this point, we definitely want Talisman of Progress to stick because that does allow us to go for Mausoleum Wanderer. So let's try to get this going. Let's go and crack Bloodstained Mire over there. Let's grab ourselves a beautiful volcanic island. Let's go for Talisman of Progress. There we go. See if we get counterbalanced on this. Fingers crossed. Come on, come on, come on, come on. And just blind fire counterbalance. Oh! All right, pass the turn to our opponent. So we know that Arcane Denial is on top of our opponent's library. That's in store for us, and then anything else, pass the turn to our opponent. Play against Lavinia. That's a bummer, man. That hurts. Each opponent can't cast non-creature spells with converted mana cost greater than the number of lands that player controls. Then, whenever an opponent casts a spell, if no mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. There we go. I read Commanders all the time, and it's like all of a sudden I'm like, what is this? What are things? Let's go for Cyclonic Rift. No, not Cyclonic Rift. Let's go for Misty. Yeah, I think we just jam a Mausoleum Wonder. Let's see if this is good. Let's see if this is stick. Because if we can get Mausoleum Wonder to stick, I think that'll be a pretty good option. And then with Imperial Recruiter, that's Windfall on top of their library. Okay, so we see what's going on. We do have Cyclonic Rift, and what we can do is they end up going for that Windfall. We might end up setting up a Cyclonic Rift on counterbalance just to send it back and get rid of it. Because if we lose our hand, it is a bummer that we might whiff on Whirlwind of Thought, but hopefully our opponent goes for Windfall. That might actually end up being pretty nice. So anything else, let's go and pass it back over there. Now, we do have a little bit of an extra advantage on our side of the battlefield with Mausoleum Wanderer. One of the nice things about this and playing against a control deck is just having an activated counter target spell. It just kind of complicates it. It almost adds an extra tax effect to that. So it's always kind of a nice feeling. Let's see what else. If they're not going to go for anything, then we will end up trying to jam and anticipate. Let's go for Misty. Let's go and crack that. Do they have Stifle? Oh. Oh, when they activated their trap card. Let's see if we get lucky with this Avid Mind Sensor. Nah, there's no lands on that one. All right, partner. All right, anything else? Let's go for Temple of Epiphany. Let's get the Scry going, the Scurry, the Fever, the Insanity, the Descent into Madness, Dawson of Perfection. Let's go ahead and put that on the bottom right now. I mean, that is nice. But yeah, we need lands pretty bad after getting whipped on that. While our opponent is kind of sitting there chilling, I guess we could try to go for... Now, if they end up going Windfall, I'd really like this Cyclonic Rift line of play. So anything else, let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. Yeah, with that that Aven Mind Sensor, for a second I got worried that we didn't go for the Mausoleum activation, but it's instant or sorcery on Aven Mind Sensor, so a little bit of a bummer. Yeah, hey, that's how Magic goes. Let's see if they're going to swing in for 2, and that will knock us down to 26. And, eventually they're going to run out of resources or answers in the hand. We do know that they have Arcane Denial active, so let's just try to just kind of slow roll out some just good value plays. Let's go for Anticipate. Let's see if they have another 2 on top of their library. If they want to counter this with the Arcane Denial, that'll still give us some extra card draw. So either way, we just want to get some card advantage, or that's what we're going for. Let's see. All right, so we know Teferi's on top of their library. That's going to be Anticipate. Let's get this Teferi's Protection. We need to have some sort of threat. So let's grab Young Pyromancer and put those on the bottom in any order. We are hoping, fingers crossed, that we do run into a land for next turn. Let's see what we rip into. Windscarred Craig. He's out in the desert. He's got a bunch of wind scars. So let's lead off with that. We're going to gain an extra life. Yeah, I think at this point I still like leaving up Cyclonic Rift on Counterbalance if they end up going for Windfall. So I think that'll end up working. And also, we can kind of end up threatening some sort of counter magic on our side against our opponent by just kind of leaving up blue mana. If we're just kind of in this like stalemate, and they are stuck on 3 lands, which I'm totally okay with. That's fine with me. Let's just kind of wait for them to start kind of getting backlogged on resources. Okay, so our opponent does not hit another land drop. And let's go for Young Pyromancer. That still keeps us open on the Cyclonic Rift line of play. Ooh, Swords to Plowshare. Okay, so let's do this. So let's go for Young Pyromancer. And let's see if the 2's on top of their library or not. All right, Mana Drain. So we've got Mana Drain to play around. All right, so that stops Young Pyromancer. And then anything else, we'll kick it back over there. So we're probably looking at Whirlwind of Thought at some point. We're going to try to get that to stick. At this point, if our opponent doesn't, if they go for Windfall or they go for Teferi, that's going to be their entire turn. They're just not making land drops. And so that does allow us to go for Whirlwind, which will give us a really good card advantage option. So we shall see. So we know that Mana Drain's in their hand. They will have to discard down to hand size, so we'll see what they end up getting rid of. At some point, they're probably going to have to crack Windfall if we can get some sort of value board state established over here. So we'll see what else is going to happen. We'll see what they do at their end step. That's going to be Omen Machine. Okay. All right, so see what we draw into. There we go. Run into a land. So let's go for Island. At this point right now, if we end up going for Whirlwind of Thought, that's just going to get chewed up by Mana Drain, and we just don't have a hard counter answer at this point right now. So let's go for Imperial Recruiter. This way we can just kind of get some sort of option. I doubt they have a 3 on top of their library. If they do, then so be they had Fabricate on top of the library. Okay, anything else? Let's go and pass the turn to our opponent. Magic's fun sometimes when you get into these like little wars with like a random card that is just firing on all cylinders. All right, so anything else, we will pass the turn to our opponent. Yes, like I mentioned, with that Whirlwind of Thought, if we tap out 4 mana for that and we don't have any sort of backup play to kind of stop that Mana Drain, then we can I just keep laughing how much Counterbalance keeps just wrecking our board state. The only good thing is, though, if there's more just non-lands on top of their library, that means they're not making their land drops. And eventually, we're going to get to a point to where we can kind of fight this, but we're definitely in this weird holding pattern right now. But that's what makes games of Magic fun, though. All right, so let's see what we draw into for the turn. Really want to hit a land, because that'll kind of help us. Or either land or counterspell. That's going to help us kind of decide what we need to do, because we can fight a counterspell from our opponent. There we go. We do hidden land. So let's go for Plateau. Yeah, I think at this point we just go value play. Let's go for Impact Tremors. And let's see if they got another 2. Okay, so that's Dovin on top. All right, so we get Impact Tremors to stick, so that's good. And then this finally might get a counterspell out of their hand, potentially. Let's see what they're tapping out for. Okay, so they actually end up going for Force of Negation on Impact Tremors, which at this point, we're kind of okay with that. That's going to be Dovin, potentially Teferi. Yeah, I think we just let this go through. I think what we'll do is we'll pause like we have a counterspell and then think about it and then just let this happen. So we're going to slow roll that one. That's definitely one of those plays that even if we do have a counterspell, I don't think we would burn it on that. They actually went down a card, exiling Chain of Vapors, or Chain of Vapor. And so that puts them at 6 cards in their hand, or 5 cards in their hand. And to my knowledge, a Windfall's in the graveyard. So we know pretty much exactly what's in their hand off those counterbalance flips. Anything else, we are going to pass the turn. Yeah, let's just go and pass the turn to our opponent. So they've got 5 cards. We know what 5 cards they are. It's Arcane Denial, Teferi, Mana Drain, Fabricate, and Dovin. And was there another reveal? No, Dovin was the reveal. So I think there's one more card that we don't know. But at this point, we're just waiting for our opponent to go shields down. They're not hitting their land drops. And we're just waiting for some sort of action on our side of the bat. Eventually, we're going to tap out for Kykar or find a counter spell, and then we'll be in a good spot. We still have to fight through counterbalance, though. Arcane Signet. Yeah, because if we give them Mana Drain mana, that's going to be 4. We're looking at Dovin next turn, which I guess it's not the end of the world. We're looking at Teferi, which they're going to have to -3. Yeah, I think we just still... Let's try this. I guess if we end up going Kykar, we know that it's going to get either hit with Arcane Denial or Mana Drain. We'll probably see them go for Mana Drain, so that's going to be 4 extra mana. I guess, yeah, let's just go Arcane Signet. I feel like if we're going to deploy something out, we need to have some sort of answer. So let's see what this counterbalance is, what the reveal is going to be. Maybe it's a land. All right, Narset. All right, there we go. We get that to stick. Oh, and Narset's really not something that we want to be messing with. Anything else, we will pass the turn. So we'll see if they end up tapping out for Narset. Either way, they've got some target creature. Yeah, so with Teferi out there, that does kind of complicate what we can try to assemble, because Teferi will basically be able to kind of return whatever we get down onto the battlefield. So we'll see what else is going to happen. Anything else, pass it back over there. So, like I mentioned, the good thing is that we are making land drops and making mana rock drops. That's really helping us kind of establish some sort of board state to where eventually we'll just get enough mana to where it's going to be hard for them to keep up with, or eventually we'll run into a counterspell. That way we don't have to play around counterbalance and all that fun stuff. So there we go, Lightning Greaves. I guess at this point... Yeah, I still think we just kind of just slow roll value stuff out. Let's go for Lightning Greaves. Some of this stuff I would like to keep, but eventually we're just going to have enough answers. So let's do this. Let's go for Lightning Greaves, because I kind of do like seeing what's on top of their library. That really does kind of help us. Snow-covered plains. All right, so they finally do hit another land. And then I guess we'll just go and put Lightning Greaves onto Mausoleum Wanderer. That way it's just protected. And one thing that I do need to keep in mind, if I do forget, I do apologize, but as the game drags on, I'm going to try to remember the Mausoleum Wanderer trigger. So it's going to stick Lightning Greaves over there, and then anything else, pass it back over to our opponent. So, but yeah, like I mentioned, we just really need to get a counter spell, because the way this game is going to play out, especially if you're new to Magic, if you've never played control games, typically in a game like this, it does help that our opponent's not hitting their land drops, but in a game like this, there's just going to be some tipping point. There's going to be a tipping point to where somebody gets just a really nice, insane amount of value. And since they have Mana Drain in their hand, it's just really hard to play into an open Mana Drain with our force spells, because that's maybe the tipping point for them. That may kind of transition them into Teferi and to Dovin. In fact, that will transition them into Teferi and Dovin. And so that's kind of one of those, we just need to find some sort of answer on our side, especially before Narset comes down. That's kind of what we're looking. Hollowed Fountain, okay. And that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's just go ahead and shock in Hollowed Fountain. Nothing else is happening. And with us having an overloaded Cyclonic Rift, we might end up forcing this at the end of their turn to get rid of that counterbalance. Yeah, because basically the way we need to approach this is going to be like a smash and grab. With the turn that we decide to finally do something, we need to have the follow-up turn to where we're going to develop a board state. So that's kind of what we're trying to set up right now. So I might be playing conservative, but against a control, especially with counterbalance going the way it has, where it's just knocked everything out of our hand, we're definitely going to play more conservative on this one. So we'll see if that's going to get them to swing in or not. We'll see what they end up discarding into their discard pile. But if you are I know typically when we play Kykar, and there's a lot of actions, there's a lot of tokens changing. So if you're a control freak or you enjoy some chess matches in Magic, this is definitely the game for you. So. There we go. See what they end up discarding. Dovin. All right, so they do get rid of Dovin, and they did make these snow-covered plains land drops. So they've got 7 cards. We know what 5 of those cards are. Yeah, we're just waiting on a counterspell. Murmuring Mystic. Yeah, Murmuring Mystic basically is what we're trying to do with Kykar. But it's just at the point where we just don't really want to give him a mana drain. Yeah, because if we're going to do something, we need to be able to have access to Cyclonic Rift the turn that it comes down. So, anything else, let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. Okay, opponent makes a land drop, and it looks like they're going to pass again. I may end up kind of speeding up some of this commentary, because there's only so much I can describe on this. But, the fact that we know what's in their hand, that's another reason. All right, so they're going to end up going for Lavinia. Do we want to end up going... I mean, I guess Lavinia on the battlefield doesn't really matter. If we end up going Swords to Plowshare, I feel like they're just going to stop it. Yeah, and I guess one thing that we can do, with them going for Lavinia, yeah, because the next turn that allows us to kind of set up. Let's see if they want to allow, because even if we Cyclonic Rift and everything goes back, I still feel like they're going to need to force that issue. Yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's go for Cyclonic Rift. We're going to cast this with Overload. And let's see if they've got 2 on top. If they've got 2 on top... Oh, we got hit with the Merchant Scroll. Woo! All right, so that counterbalance is putting in some work. We've got Brainstorm. I guess at this point we just Brainstorm. Yeah, let's bust this open, because that Brainstorm really does work out. So let's do this. Let's go for a Whirlwind of Thought. Maybe we get lucky with the Brainstorm in response, and we can kind of set it up to where we can draw some fast mana. So let's go for a Whirlwind of Thought. We know that Merchant Scroll's on top. Let's see which counterspell this gets out of their hand. Might see mana drain. If that's the case, we might force them to pay that last snow-covered plains. But I think at this point, if this does stick, then we'll be in a pretty good spot. And if this is a counter... Oh, Spell Queller, of course. Let's see. Yeah, we can actually set up a Swords to Plowshare. Yeah, I kind of like that. All right, so they're going to exile Whirlwind of Thought. And let's go for Swords to Plowshare on Spell Queller. And we know Merchant Scroll's on top of their library, so we can all get this done. Alright, so we're going to exile Spell Queller. That's going to be... Return that card. Let's go and cast Whirlwind of Thought. That's going to be a... Oh, my goodness. Oh. That's going to be Lavinia. This is a long game. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I guess we just Brainstorm. Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah, I totally forgot about that that Whirlwind ability. Yeah, but we got. Oh, there we go. We hit a counterspell. Okay, so we need to put 2 cards on top. Let's put Selfless Spirit on top. We'll put Homeward Path back on top too. So we have a counterspell, so we can make that work. But it may not be as good. So anything else, we will pass the turn to our opponent. At least we can kind of stop them this turn if we want to. That hurt. That really hurt. That Whirlwind on Spell Queller. Totally forgot about that clause with whenever opponent casts a spell. Alright, so opponent's going to have Teferi come down. Whew. Okay, we're in for the long haul. And with Teferi out there, that does shut us off being able to go for counter magic. So we're going to have to do everything on our main phase anyway. So at least we can kind of stop that. We can try to end up going for Kykar and building up some sort of board state. Because we need to get something moving on our side of the battlefield. So there we go. Even with that that Swords to Plowshare line of play, I mean, I guess technically we should have left it on the battlefield. It's just one of those like, oh yeah, totally forgot. All right, so let's go for Kykar. That way we can kind of see if the coast is clear. It helps if we tap down for red. There we go. Tap down for red. That's going to be Kykar. Let's see if they've got a 4 on top of their library. Let's see if Jace the Mind Sculptor's up there. Talisman of Progress. Okay. One of the downsides is, though, that they're going to be able to stop our counter spell with that. At the end of the day, if they end up going Mana Drain finally on Kykar, we can still follow it up with Murmuring Mystic. Yeah, because they go for Arcane Denial. That's going to allow us to go for card draw. So yeah, because we might as well not even burn the counter spell. Let's go Murmuring Mystic. At this point, this might allow us to kind of get something moving our side of the battlefield. So anything else, let's go and pass the turn over to our opponent. Let's go and shift Lightning Greaves over onto Murmuring Mystic. That way it does allow us to kind of dodge that Teferi effect. And then anything else, pass the turn to our opponent. So we've got Counterspell. Things could be worse. But at least we're going to be able to cash in some extra card draw, which we will definitely take. And the good thing is they don't have Narset on the battlefield to stop us from getting that extra card draw with Arcane Denial. So, yeah, to be perfectly honest, when you get a game of Magic that goes to like turn 15, your brain gets tired. It's just kind of like, what are we doing? What has happened? This counterbalance has just completely owned us. It's like counterbalance is running blitz on Madden every play and just knocking us cold. So Teferi's definitely slowing our counterspell ability. The good thing is we don't have to worry about any sort of ultimate from our opponent. So it's going to be Talisman of Progress. There are some things that we haven't seen from our opponent yet. We haven't seen Fabricate. We haven't seen Merchant Scroll yet. We can get rid of Arcane Denial, get rid of Teferi. So that way we do know what's on top of their library. But that's going to be 1, 2. And then hopefully, I mean, I guess maybe we might still end up going for Kykar's Wind Fury. I mean, if they have all the mana in the world, so be it. But I guess Merchant Scroll, that would be a big payoff spell with their mana drain stopping Kykar. We'll see. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, so they do end up passing the turn. Okay, so they end up passing the turn. Let's see what is on the top of our library. Please be something good. Swan Song. Okay. Yeah, I think we're okay with that. Kind of diversifies what we've got going on. The thing is that we're going to have to fight during our turn. So let's go and do that. Let's go for Kykar. If we're going to grind this one out, we really need to really kind of fight on our turn because that's the only way that we can fight, unfortunately. So there we go. Let's tap down for 1, 2. And that leaves just enough mana to go for Swan Song, Counterspell, and Mausoleum Wonder. All right, so we got the Counterbalance trigger. Let's see what's on top of their library. And then hopefully we should be able to stop whatever this is. So that's going to be Ponder on top of their library. So we know Swan Song's not going to be good on this one. So it's going to force us to end up going for Counterspell. Now, if they have a different spell than Mana Drain, all right, so we're going to go ahead. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, we can't go for Counterspell on that. I totally forgot that. Oh, my goodness. This is... Yeah, man, Fairy's pretty gnarly. Let's go for Selfless Spirit. It's going to be white and then blue. That still allows us to dodge the Ponder on top of our library and still go for Selfless Spirit to kind of protect the board state. Do they have another counter spell? Merchant Scroll in response to that. Okay, so let's see what that is. Oh, put it on top. No, it goes into your hand, so they're not going to be able to dodge this one. Or at least they're going to go for a... Maybe kind of see what's on top. So we can cross off Ponder because we know that's on top. They just use Merchant Scroll, so we can get rid of that. And that's going to be Brainstorm on top of their library. Okay. Or at least that goes into their hand. Oh, that's what happened. They went for Merchant Scroll, and then Snapcaster's on top of their library with Selfless Spirit. Okay, so that dodged Selfless Spirit. Anything else? I think we're going to go ahead and pass the turn to our opponent. We're about to get to the point to where we might scoop it up. I normally enjoy grinding games out, but with Teferi on the battlefield, kind of having the lockdown, we'll see what their big payoff card is with Mana Drain. But we're about to get to the point now to where, we might scoop it up. Normally I like to grind games out, but with Snapcaster, with Fabricate, we'll see what's in store for us. There's just too many counterbalances. The rent's too high. The counterbalance triggers were too good today. That's why eventually you get to the point where you're like, my brain is tired. And that's going to be knowledge. Yeah, if we're going to get knowledge pool going, let's see. Because Swan Song's not going to be able to stop it. That's going to be knowledge pool. And a plastic cast a spell from their hand. Oh my goodness. Okay, we can't even do anything about that with Teferi. Top 3 cards of their library. That's going to be Ancient Tomb, Steam Vents, Mountain, Counterspell. There we go. All right, it's going to be Fairy Time Raveler. And I mean, I guess technically we don't have to scoop. We can just start spamming stuff if we want to and try to get as many tokens on the battlefield. Yeah, let's at least give that a shot. So it's going to be instant or sorcery. And that'll be a few extra tokens on the battlefield. Do we want to try to jam a Kykar? So knowledge pool. When a player casts a spell, if the player does, they may cast a spell without paying its mana cost. So at this point, we're looking at Weir of Invention, Counterspell. Let's just load some stuff up. Let's get some stuff on the battlefield. They've got 1 blue mana, so let's give this a shot. So we're going to give target creature. We're going to hold priority on this too. Do we want to overload this? No, I think we're okay. We're going to cast this onto Mausoleum Wanderer. That's going to be 1 red mana activation. All right, so we're going to get the counterbalance triggers. We're going to get the Murmuring Mystic trigger too. And let's see how they decide to set up the counterbalance. So that's going to be a knowledge pool trigger. Let's let that go through. Let's go ahead and cast Weir of Invention for 0, I guess. I think that'll be pretty good. Let's cast Weir of Invention. Oh yeah, we can't cast it with knowledge pool. With Teferi out there. Okay, it's going to be a knowledge counter. Okay, yeah, I know this wasn't the most tight game that we've played, but trying to keep Teferi in mind about... There's just so many times where you don't really play against Teferi that much, and then you totally forget that it just negates everything that you can do. So we're going to go and scoop it up on this one. We're going to declare bankruptcy. Hey, good game, partner. They have got the lockdown. Yeah, with the Teferi and knowledge pool out there, that's going to be it. We could try to spam some tokens, but eventually you get to the point where your brain is just not firing on all cylinders. You've been talking for 20, almost 30 minutes. And so that's one of those just like, yeah, we're just going to go and scoop this one up. But Kykar could not get it done. Unfortunately, we just absolutely smashed in the face with counterbalance the entire game. Should have known that once we had all those triggers go against us, that's exactly what would have happened. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.